Hey guys, this is Steadybug here, and today I'm going to be talking about things you can consider when picking a foreign language. You can use this to either help you decide what foreign language you can study for fun, or mostly what foreign language you want to study throughout high school. Some kids start learning foreign language in middle school, so it's important to consider some of these things too when you're picking that in middle school. One of the most obvious things you have to consider is if your high school offers it. Because a lot of kids, they start a foreign language in middle school. By the time they get to high school, they realize that their school doesn't offer it, so they have to switch languages or find alternative methods to study it. So if that happens to you, you can see if you are able to take it online or at a community college and fulfill that language requirement, because most colleges require you to take 2 years of foreign language in high school. A lot of more competitive colleges would like to see you commit to the language and take 4 years. But if you realize that you want to change your language, then you can do that. But it's good to try to keep your language throughout your schooling career so that you can be able to master it and learn it really well. Sometimes you might have to take the language again in college depending on what your major is in. So be sure to be aware of all that and be aware of all your options before considering the language. Another thing you need to do is figure out why do you want to learn. Do you want to fulfill a language requirement? Do you just want to take 2 years and be done with it? Do you want to travel abroad? If you want to if you want to learn French, then that can be applicable to countries such as West Africa and Europe. But if you want to learn like Chinese or Korean or Japanese, then you might want to go to places like Asia and Latin and Central America if you want to learn Spanish. Or do you want to learn to speak to your neighbors or family? Spanish is the most spoken language in the US as far as foreign languages go. So there's 41 million speakers as has Spanish as the first language in the US, and there's 37 million people worldwide that speak Spanish. And 220 million people speak French worldwide, and 1.2 billion people in the world speak Chinese. Also, though these numbers might like persuade you to do one language or the other, consider like your geographical location. If you're like in Canada, maybe then French would probably be more common than if you live in Florida in the U.S. Then Spanish will probably be more common for you to use in your everyday life. Or if you're like have friends that are Chinese or your family that's Chinese, then you probably want to pick Chinese. And also, if like I said before, some kids start in middle school. If sometimes your high schools have less options for foreign language, but a lot of times they have more more options. So in middle school, they might just offer Spanish and French. In high school, they might offer Spanish, French, Chinese, and ASL, because that's what my school does. So be aware be aware of what your high school is if you're still a middle school student. The next thing you consider is which language is easier for you to learn. One language is not necessarily easier than the other. If you have more exposure to the language or if your native language is more similar to another one, then it might be easier. What I said just might not make sense to you, but for example, a lot of Indian languages are more similar to Spanish than in French. So if you are an Indian person and you have a language, I know there are many languages in India, but if you have one of those languages and the pronunciation was probably more similar to Spanish than say French. So French can be easier for English speakers because they have easier pronunciations and the words are more similar. However, there are a lot of grammar rules and syntax rules. Spanish, however, has flexible grammar and syntax is more common in the US, but there are a lot of false cognates. So what that means is that a false cognate means that the word sounds like an English word, but it really doesn't mean the same. The final thing you should consider is career paths. If you want to study like religion or literature, then Latin might be the right choice for you. If you want to do business in Asia, then Chinese might be the right choice for you. Or if you want to go into the culinary world, then maybe French is great for you. Of course, your interests probably will change, but it's good to keep these things in mind. Looks like we came to the end of our video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you later. Bye.